I never thought that a simple diary, tucked away in the corner of my cabin on the starship Aurora's Veil, would become the cause of my most surreal encounter. It was an ordinary human habit, really, writing down thoughts, feelings, and fears that I could never voice aloud. But in the vast stretches of space, ordinary habits could quickly become extraordinary liabilities. I had been traveling through the uncharted Velar sector, a region notorious for anomalies and rogue planets, when the Aurora's Veil intercepted a faint distress signal from a nearby asteroid colony. I was the only one awake in the navigation module, scribbling my usual stream of consciousness into my leather-bound diary when I noticed a flicker on the ship's sensor array. A figure was approaching, graceful, fluid, and unmistakably not human. She materialized in the observation deck, stepping through a holographic portal like a ghost made of light. Her skin shimmered with patterns that shifted according to her mood, and her eyes glowed with an intensity that seemed to read straight through matter itself. The First Confrontation. "You wrote in this," she said, her voice melodic but tinged with amusement, as she gestured toward my diary, which I had carelessly left open. I froze. It's private," I stammered. She tilted her head, a gesture both curious and intimidating. Private? For humans, perhaps. But secrets aren't fragile. They rarely remain hidden in the presence of those who observe deeply. I didn't mean for anyone to see it," I said, realizing with a sinking feeling that she could read not only the words, but the intentions behind them. She stepped closer, her presence simultaneously soothing and suffocating. "Your thoughts are peculiar human, fragile, yet audacious. I find it intriguing." The hidden depths of the diary. Over the next several hours, she pored over my writings, her eyes scanning not just the text but the subtle shifts in ink pressure, the rhythm of my handwriting, and the tiny smudges that betrayed my late-night anxieties. Every detail became a map to my psyche. "You write of fear," she said softly, "yet you take journeys others would not dare. You record loneliness, yet seek connection with the stars themselves. You are fascinating human." I felt exposed, like a creature laid bare under a microscope. Yet, oddly, I was not afraid. There was a curiosity in her, a desire to understand me beyond superficial appearances, that was almost comforting. "You are not like the others," she continued. "Most humans are predictable, constrained by their routines and their fear of judgment. You resist it." I swallowed hard. I don't know if I resist. I try to understand, not just the universe, but myself. She smiled faintly, a glimmer of approval in her luminescent eyes. "Then perhaps that is why I find you valuable." The journey begins. The next day, she led me beyond the confines of my ship to a hidden moon orbiting a gas giant. The moon was alive with bioluminescent flora and crystalline formations that hummed with energy. She explained that her species, the Veilani, had long studied humans from afar, intrigued by our adaptability and resilience. "You write, yet you act," she explained. "You plan, yet you improvise. That combination is rare. I have observed humans for centuries, yet few display such depth." I realized that my diary, once a private refuge, had become a bridge between our species. Through words, I had inadvertently communicated the essence of humanity, the curiosity, vulnerability, and audacity that defined us. A test of trust. One evening, she proposed a challenge. A rogue energy storm threatened the moon's ecosystem, and she needed my help to stabilize it using a combination of Veilani technology and human intuition. "You write of courage, yet you tremble," she said, holding my hand as we navigated the unstable terrain. "Will your actions match your words?" I had no choice but to try. Following her instructions, I manipulated the energy conduits, adjusting the flow according to patterns I had only read about in my own scientific journals. Sparks flew, the ground trembled, and for a moment, I feared we would fail. But then, with a resonant hum, the conduits aligned, the storm dissipated, and the moon's glow returned to its normal, radiant state. She turned to me, her expression unreadable at first, then softened. "You have exceeded my expectations, not in thought alone, but in action." For the first time, I realized that the diary had not merely exposed me, it had prepared me. The reflections, fears, and insights I had written had been practice, training my mind to face the unknown. The confession. As we rested on the crystalline cliffs, she looked at me with an intensity that made my chest tighten. "Human, I have read your thoughts. I have seen your fears, your desires, your questions about the universe. And yet what?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "Yet I am compelled to act as if none of that matters. To treat you as equal. To risk everything for a being whose species I barely understand." I felt a strange warmth. I never imagined a human could matter so much to someone like you. Her eyes flickered, patterns of light dancing across her skin. "Perhaps it is because you are human that you matter. You are unpredictable, audacious, capable of hope even in despair. That is rare." The climax. Our peace was short-lived. A fleet of Veilani enforcers, unaware of our collaboration, arrived to confiscate the diary, viewing it as a potential threat to imperial secrecy. We had to escape. Using the diary as a tool, she and I devised a diversion. I scribbled coded messages and misdirections, while she manipulated the portal systems to create phantom duplicates of ourselves. The enforcers were thrown into confusion, chasing illusions while we slipped away into the nebula's mist. As we reached the safety of a neutral asteroid station, she finally laughed, a melodic sound filled with relief. "Your diary saved us both. Not just your thoughts, but your ability to convey them strategically. Humans are remarkable." I nodded, exhausted, but exhilarated. The diary, once a symbol of my private vulnerabilities, had become a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. The resolution. Days later, as we prepared to part ways, she handed me a small crystalline device. A gift. Not for reading, but for remembering. "Your words, your thoughts will guide others as they guided me." I realized then that the diary had transformed me. Through exposure, trust, and collaboration, I had shown an alien Empress the depth of humanity. And in doing so, I had also discovered strength, courage, and purpose I never knew I possessed. "You will always be human," she said softly, "but in ways far more extraordinary than you realize." As I watched her fade into the starlit horizon, I felt an unshakable sense of connection, not just to her, but to the universe itself. My thoughts, once private and confined to pages, had become a bridge across stars, species, and understanding. And in that moment, I understood. Even a single human, armed with curiosity, honesty, and courage, could leave an indelible mark on the cosmos.